Hi guys, we're going to have a look in this little video at the practice or the method of what's called mail merging. Oh, excuse me. So in class, this was one of the exercises that you're asked to do, this one here, and I noticed that some of you were still having some issues with this kind of exercise, so I decided to make a little video about it, which hopefully you can follow along and actually try to do this yourself. And if you're still having trouble with the other two that you had to do, the first one that you had to do, this one up here, this is very similar to what we're doing in this further practice one. If you're still having trouble with the dynamic linking, can you please let me know? Okay, so how are we going to start to create this particular letter? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is in Word I'm going to start up a new blank document. And the margins by default are pretty wide, so what I usually do on page layout under margins is change that to something like moderate. Okay, so the left and right margins are a little less. Okay, now you notice that I've opened up the digital copy of this booklet that you've got. Now what I need you to do is to browse in that digital copy to this page here, which is page 22, and then we're going to highlight this part here. Okay, and we're going to copy and we're going to paste that into the empty Word document. Otherwise you will have to type this up, and that's rather time consuming. So I'm going to copy this, go to this blank one, and I'm going to paste that in. Control V for paste. Now at this stage I'm going to select all the text, and a quick way of doing that is Control A. So hold down Control and tap A on the keyboard, and I just want to check the paragraph settings. So at the moment I've got spacing before and after. I just want to set those to my defaults, and that has made some extra spacing appear here. So I'm going to have to put my cursor in front of some of these things here and basically correct this. So I'm going to put the cursor in front of club there, press backspace, and then go shift enter. Now shift enter basically means that these 3 or 4 or 5 lines that we've got for this address here are not then separate paragraphs. And I'll just show you again with the formatting characters turned on. Notice those arrows, the curly arrows, meaning they're all part of one paragraph. This looks like a backwards sort of P, is in fact the paragraph indicator. So I've got actually a different paragraphs are appearing here. I'm going to turn those off for now. Okay, so need to just backspace that because that's too much space. Now this here, see it says name of person being sent to, etc. This is just some dummy text. This is not what should be in your final letter. So I'm going to delete all of that and press backspace until I've got one line in between the date and the address above, and this where the new address will go. And then dear first name, that's another thing that eventually I'm going to have to remove from that as well, because I want the real first name in there. So these other spaces, okay, too much, so I'm just going to backspace some of these just to make it look more professional. Probably could have a double line there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that one, secretary, needs to go right underneath Alfred Holmes there. So that's looking, I think, pretty good. Okay, now we need the address up here, and we want to get the proper first name in here. Now at this stage I'm going to save this, so I need to go to where I've got my work. Okay, so I'm going to go to this place here, and I'm going to call this the Holden letter, and I'm going to call that template, and get rid of any spelling mistakes. Holden letter template, save. Okay, so now I need to check some stuff in my database where I'm going to get this information from. Before I do that, actually I do think that this is actually too tight here, so I'm actually going to press enter a second time. That spacing looks more appropriate actually. Okay, so coming back to my database, so I've started up Access. Okay, and here is the Classic Cars database with some queries done. And one of the queries you're asked to make was this Holden owners and cars. Okay, so this is meant to show all the Holden owners and the cars that they have. So if you double click on that, okay, we've got, in fact, not everything I want. I actually want to show the cars as well at this stage. Let's run that. So that was actually not quite right either. Meant to be showing the car that they've got, not just the make. So what we'll do is we'll in fact tidy this up, and the other thing I'm going to do is to add the mailing information into this query here. Okay, so if you're not too sure how to start that from scratch, okay, I'll actually delete that and we'll just quickly do it again. Alright, so I'm going to create a query in Design View. I want both tables, the members and the cars. Close that now, make those easy to see. And so we want the first name, the last name, so you can either double click on the field or drag it down to here. So we want that information from the members, but we want the make and we want the model of car that these people have, and the criteria, the make has to be Holden. So we want to find the Holden owners. So let's run that. And sure enough, we've got the make and the model now, and that's the query that you should have done previously. Just make that a little wider. Okay, so that's all good. Let's save that now as Holden car owners. And now I'm going to add in the mailing information. So I'm going to go back to Design View, and the mailing information is from the members table. So we want the street number. I'm just going to double click on these rather than drag them. Street, town, postcode. And if we run that, that's all good. Okay, so we've got all that there. Now, some of these things I don't really need in the letter. Like I don't really need the make, or the model is not mentioned in the letter either, but I do need to know the person's name and this mailing information. So I'm going to actually just make these things not visible when I run the query because they're not needed. Okay, so having done that and saved it, okay, I can now actually close that query, and we're going to go back to Word. So here's my letter, and around about this position here, okay, I'm going to start to put the address information about who the letter is going to. Alright, so to do that, I'm going to go to Mailings. I'm going to select recipients here using an existing list, which is my query from my database. Browse to where I've got my work saved. Okay, and for me that's a bit of a mission to get there. Okay, and that one, that one, that one, that one, and this is the database I was using. And I want the one I was doing was the Holden car owners. That's right. Okay, that. Alright, having done that, nothing appears, but a few more of these things became active. So if I select recipients, edit recipients, I can check to see have these people come through. And if this is blank, you need to actually go back and probably create that query again properly and then try this again, because if this is blank, we're not going to be able to get the data through. Okay, so that looks good so far, so clicking OK, and I'm going to go ignore address block, ignore greeting line, and go straight to insert merge field. Okay, so I've got the cursor in the right place. If I don't, well, I just go to where I need to put it, and then come back to insert merge field. So I want the first name, then on my keyboard I'm going to press the space bar because I want a space between the first name and the last name. Go back to insert merge field, last name, hold down shift and press enter because this is like an address block like the one up here, and if you press enter like that you've got too much of a gap there, because if we have text there, see that gap there? Too much. So we don't want a paragraph return, we want basically a line return. So shift enter, street number, space, street, okay, new line, so shift enter, okay, we want town and space, and next to that postcode. Alright, let's do a preview, see if that looks okay, and I can run through a few of them. Up here I can press that just to see a few of those, and that looks good. Okay, and then dear first name, well I need to remove first name and insert, oops, that did not look right because I've got preview on still. First name, okay, that looks better. And then I'm going to just quickly read through this. Okay, one thing that I did notice that some of you did not read your letters, and there was some interesting spelling mistakes that I'd left deliberately in one or two of those letters that are still there, but I think this one doesn't have any of those. Okay, so let's save that. So Control S, because I've already previously saved it, and Control S is the shortcut for saving. And basically that's my merge letter done. Now I actually need, after I've saved it, to do the merging part. So this is the finish and merge. So I'm going to click the down arrow there, and I'm going to click on edit individual documents, and I'm going to merge all of them. Okay, so now down here I've actually got another document open, something called letters 1. This is my original template, it's still there. This is the merged documents, and I can check those. I can make individual changes on some of the letters if I needed to. Okay, now I'm going to save this, so file, save as, and once again let's save it as Holden Letters, where is it? Holden Letter Template. Well, it's not Holden Letter Template anymore, it is Holden Letters, or Letter Merged .docx, sorry, docx, Holden Letter Merged, save. So I've got two copies of the two Word files relating to this exercise about the Holden letter. One is the template, and I must see that so I can check that this has been done properly, and this is the merged one, and to me that looks pretty good. We could argue about the spacing, maybe that's a bit too much, but to me that looks reasonably appropriate, so I think I'm actually pretty happy with that. Okay, and that's that, how you do another merged letter type exercise. Okay, kitchen class.